Welcome to the show, Jordan Westburg. Let's discuss on fantasy baseball today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Monday, June 26th. I am Frank Stanfill without his voice, joined by Scott White, and let's talk about the Orioles, one of their top prospects, Jordan Westburg, who will get promoted on Monday, the 30th overall pick back in 2020. This season in the minors was batting .295 with 18 home runs, 6 steals, and a .939 OPS. He's 24% rostered. Scott, is Jordan Westburg a must-add in every format?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. To be fair to Westburg, I haven't gone that far with many prospect call-ups this year. I feel like Ellie De La Cruz might be the only one. So Westburg obviously isn't at that level, but he's a good prospect. I did have him toward the back end of my top 100 coming into the year. I'm a little more optimistic about him now. Not only did he put up such good numbers at AAA this year, but we have exit velocity readings now, and they're very good. They're like a legitimate power hitter, so it's not a case of a guy, just putting up home runs without having the raw power behind it. And 2, he's done a much better job of spreading the ball around the outfield, hitting it to all fields this year. So he's not going to be so subject to that deep left field fence at Camden Yards. I think there's a good chance Jordan Westburg puts up good enough power numbers to make him worth starting in any fantasy format. There are downsides. The strikeout rate's high, and Chris Towers pointed out on the full length show that specifically his swing and miss rate on pitches in the zone is not great. It's a problem for Jordan Westburg, and we'll see if he's able to overcome that at the major league level, if he's able to provide enough power to overcome that. So there are downsides here with Westburg. He's obviously not a sure thing, but the minor league numbers are what they are. And in addition to being eligible at shortstop, I imagine he'll pick up second base and third base in short order. Those will probably be the positions he plays more often than shortstop, since Jorge Mateo is such a good defender. So, shallower leagues where you start just 9 players and you don't have need for an extra middle infielder, I'm not sure Westburg is so worth pursuing in those, but in any roto league where you have that third middle infield spot, definitely add him there and see what happens.
All right, let's slide over to the waiver wire pitchers, and 5 names who pitched well this weekend, names that we've talked about pretty regularly here on the show: Brayan Bello, Emmet Sheehan, Taijuan Walker, Griffin Canning, and Kyle Bradish. 5 names there, Scott. Who are your favorite 3 from that group?
Well, my favorite, I think, is going to be Brayan Bello, who is just having... I think he's pretty clearly having a breakout season here. I've been calling him kind of a light version of Framber Valdez, really dating back to last year, in terms of him combining an elite ground ball rate with a pretty good swinging strike rate. You don't find pitchers who do that well in both of those, and Bello does, and has been very consistent here of late. It's got that ERA down to 3.27, 4 straight quality starts, and I believe it's 10 straight starts allowing 2 earned runs or fewer. So he seems to be coming into his own. The whip's kind of high. The walks have been higher than I'd like, but he's improving, and I think there's a chance he could keep improving. So he's number 1. I'll go Emmet Sheehan number 2, because I do think there's a lot of potential there. And it's now 2 starts where he's been a little underwhelming in terms of getting whiffs, specifically with the fastball. That was supposed to be his best pitch. And though the overall swinging strike rate was better in the second start, 12 on 87 pitches, it was still less than, it was still just kind of an iffy rate on the fastball. So we'll keep watching that with Emmet Sheehan. But the results have been good through 2 starts against 2 pretty good offenses, San Francisco and Houston. Third, I'm going to say Taijuan Walker, who has put together 4 great starts now. 3 of them, the first 3 of them, the velocity was way up, like 2 to 3 miles per hour on every pitch. Wasn't the case in this most recent one, so we'll keep an eye on that. But again, the results were good, and I still think he's trending the right direction overall. And the last 2 were Canning, and who was the 5th one?
It was Kyle Bradish, correct.
Yeah, okay. So I'll take Kyle Bradish over Griffin Canning to round it out. There are good aspects to both. I think my biggest concerns for Canning are he gives up hard contact still, even as the swinging strikes and have been going up, and he's been getting more consistent results overall. Hard contact, and he pitches for the Angels, which means he doesn't pitch as consistently because they have to space out Shohei Ohtani's starts. So I'll take Bradish over him. It's a close call between the two, but Bradish pitches for a really good Orioles team, and he has been on a nice run himself here. Not so much with the strikeouts, but everything else over his last 9 starts, a 2.92 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, and 8.4 strikeouts per 9 innings.
All right, so good stuff there. We're going to wrap there. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.